Many people think of editing as tweaking your prose, combing through each sentence and focusing on grammar and spelling. The biggest, most difficult and hardest part of editing involves addressing all the big picture problems. But then, yes, this is the next step. This step is called copy editing. Do not skip this step, even if you feel you've done a lot of hard work already. When your book is published, you would not want readers to be faced with spelling errors and mixed up tenses, and it isn't a great idea to present it to your editor like that. Words are the tools of our trade, but getting spellings and grammar right can be hard, and not all of us are natural good spellers. So how to make copy editing easier? I always write even a first draft with a spell checker on and try to pick up errors as I write them. If you don't put it on until a later stage, you might be overwhelmed. If you reckon you might have 2 or 3 errors to fix per page of a 300-word novel, there is software for spelling and grammar, thank goodness. Software will pick up lots, but won't pick up everything, and having most of it picked up as you go along always helps me spot other things. But copy editing is more than just spelling and grammar. It's trying to find the best language to say what you want to say. Substitute strong words for weak ones. Even the order of sentences can change its impact. One tip is, I know lots of authors use, is to read your story out loud or get a vocal package to do this for you. This highlights awkward sounding prose and can highlight spelling errors too. The ear picks up words differently to reading in your head, but if a sentence is clunky, it will be clunky to read even inside your head. Reading out loud is also great for helping to identify if your dialogue is realistic. If it sounds a bit false, try to make it sound more natural, or if there's a chunk, try putting it in reported speech. How else can you up your writing game as you move into the last stage of editing? Another trick is to change the font you have written in. This again can trick your brain into thinking it's seeing something different. If that works for you, then build it in as a step. Another step that can be useful is to get someone else to read it. And this is the stage where I involve my first reader, which is my editor at my publisher. But if you are using someone who's not a professional, I think it's helpful to be clear what you would get the most out of their involvement. I'd say they can help you the most by still focusing on the major components: plot, characterization, setting, conflict, dialogue, narrative choices, and the strength of the main idea driving your whole book. Because it will be helpful to know if you still have work to do there. Find other writers or people you are positive will not worry about offending you when they give you feedback, because hopefully by this stage you will be past that belief that your magical first draft did not need editing. Hopefully by now you will be grateful to anyone identifying anything that can make your book better. Try not to worry if there's a lot. You make the final say in what changes you still want to make. If you like, make a list of questions for your beta readers to keep them concentrated on what they really need to look for. Here are some example questions. Is the overall idea and story strong? Are my characters engaging and behave in believable ways? Does my dialogue sound realistic? Does anything not make sense? Include plot, world rules, choices and behaviour of characters. Were there any places you got bored or didn't want to continue? Is the ending exciting enough? I find that readers all take great delight in highlighting any spelling or grammatical errors. This is not the main way they can help, but it's another pass through to tidy up everything. And while it's being read, you should take another break from it. How you receive feedback is up to you. Lots of people all at once, at a meeting, written feedback, but try to be a good listener. It is actually quite easy to blame your reader for not understanding something and feeling they have not paid close enough attention. But my advice is that probably the fault is in your book. Always consider everything your beta readers say. Do not get defensive. Do not argue. They are your first readers and you want honest feedback. You can keep improving your story experience for readers. It might be that they throw up more and bigger issues than you hope. But don't get discouraged. You know now the editing steps you can take to improve things. Writing a book does take time. All writing is rewriting. I work hard to get a draft to my editor that I'm happy with, and she always has plenty to point out where my story can be improved. Just to give a flavour of the time it takes me, I will tell you that the first draft of the first novel that I had published took me about 6 months, and I was extraordinarily lucky and did get a publishing deal on the strength of that first draft. It was not the first book I had written. Then it was 2 years of editing before it was published. I learned so much from that experience. I have now had 5 books published, and this is a breakdown of roughly the time I spend on each step. Remember, all writing is rewriting. Coming up with the idea, lots of walks to generate basic story ingredients. I try not to put a figure on this, and it is ongoing. I am always jotting down ideas, and then I need to decide which is calling to me most and write that one. Draft 0. My first draft is such a mess, I don't dignify it by calling it that. 5 hours a day for 30 days, 150 hours. Draft 1. 5 hours a day for 30 days, 150 hours. I aim to get to the end as rapidly as possible, as once I get to the end, I have a very much clearer idea about what the book is about. Draft 2, structural edit. 5 hours a day for 30 days, 150 hours. Draft 3, line edit. 5 hours a day for 30 days, 150 hours. So that's after about 3 months. This is when I send it to my editor, and the process starts again, only in more forensic detail. With each of these edits, my editor needs time to read and make notes for me, so there are gaps between each one where I usually work on my next project. I don't wait until I've finished before I start the next. So editor's structural edit, 5 hours a day for 45 days, 225 hours. Editor's line edit, 5 hours a day for 45 days, 225 hours. Copy edit, 5 hours a day for 30 days, 150 hours. Proofreading edit, 5 hours a day for 10 days, 50 hours. So that's about another 6 months to get the draft I've written in 3 months to a publishable standard. Then there's the time to get the book printed and distributed. That works out as roughly 20 hours a week, every week. And I do have to say that I mostly do longer days than 5 hours, and I do work most days of the week. But by putting in the hours, this is how I have managed to publish 1 book a year for the last 4 years. I really hope some of this helps, and it is certainly all information I wish I'd known before I was published. Thanks for staying with me for this short series. My final words are, good luck with the editing.